Why are you here, Jack? Elise's voice trembled, the years of silence pressing down between them like an unbearable weight. Jack's eyes narrowed as he stared at the woman who had disappeared from his life 17 years ago. But there was something different now. A girl with blonde hair and an old stuffed bear, standing in his cabin, trembling in the cold. Jack had been a mechanic for years, hiding away from the world after tragedy struck. He'd built his life in isolation, but Sophie's sudden appearance shattered everything. The secret she brought with her would unravel the quiet life Jack had worked so hard to create. This isn't just a coincidence, is it? Jack asked, his voice steady despite the storm of questions swirling in his head. There were too many unanswered questions, too many connections that didn't add up. Sophie wasn't just a lost child. And Elise? She hadn't just returned for her daughter. There was something much darker beneath the surface. But as the storm outside raged, so did the storm brewing inside their tangled lives. What really happened all those years ago? And why is Sophie suddenly in Jack's life now, with secrets that could destroy everything? The truth was hidden in plain sight, and someone or something was willing to kill to keep it buried. The Vermont forest was a fortress of shadows, its ancient pines swallowing the dawn's pale light. Jack Turner trudged through the frost, his toolbox swinging, his breath a ghost in the November chill. 8 years ago, a drunk driver had stolen his wife, Lily, and daughter, Emma, leaving Jack a husk of a man. His cabin, perched on the edge of nowhere, was his refuge, a place to fix engines and forget the world. But this morning, the woods held a secret. A faint cry, fragile as a sparrow's, pierced the silence. Jack stopped, his calloused hands tightening on the toolbox. He scanned the mist, eyes narrowing. There, by a twisted oak, a small figure crouched, clutching a worn stuffed bear. A girl, maybe 6, her blonde hair tangled, her coat too thin for the biting cold. Her eyes, wide with fear, met his. "Hey," Jack said, kneeling to soften his 6-foot frame. "You lost, kid." She trembled but didn't bolt. "I'm Sophie," she whispered. "My mom, she's gone." Jack's chest tightened. He wasn't built for kids, not since Emma. But leaving her was an option. "Come on," he said, offering a hand. "Let's get you warm." Inside his cabin, Sophie huddled by the wood stove, sipping cocoa from a chipped mug. Her bear, one button eye dangling, never left her grip. Jack called Sheriff Danvers, but the response was a gut punch. No missing child reports matched Sophie. She spoke in fragments, her name, her mother's anger about New York, a phone call, then nothing. Jack's instinct screamed trouble. Kids didn't just wander into the wilderness alone. As Sophie dozed under a quilt, a low hum shattered the quiet. Jack stepped onto the porch, squinting at a private jet circling low, its sleek form glinting like a predator. Too deliberate for a coincidence. Whoever Sophie belonged to, they had money and secrets. By noon, Deputy Colton's cruiser rolled up, gravel crunching. "That jet's Alter Holdings," he said, nodding toward Sophie, now coloring at Jack's table. "Big corporation. CEO's Elise Harrington." Jack's world tilted. Elise, 17 years ago, she'd been his summer love, her laughter brighter than the July sun. They'd planned a life until she vanished, no explanation, leaving Jack broken. Now her name was tied to this girl. His jaw clenched. This wasn't chance. Before he could unravel it, a black SUV roared into the clearing. A woman stepped out, her tailored coat and heels absurd against the mud. Elise Harrington. Her auburn hair was cropped, her face sharper with time, but those green eyes, God, they hadn't changed. She froze, seeing Jack, her poise crumbling. "Jack!" Her voice cracked, barely audible. Sophie burst in the cabin, flinging herself into Elise's arms. "Mommy!" she sobbed. Elise knelt, clutching her, tears streaming. Jack watched, his mind a storm. Sophie was Elise's daughter, but why was she alone in his woods? And why was Elise here after all these years? Elise rose, wiping her face. "Thank you, Jack." Sophie wandered off during a retreat. "I was distracted. I didn't know she'd gone so far." Jack's voice was ice. "A retreat? In these woods? You're going to have to do better than that." Elise flinched, her eyes darting away. Deputy Colton coughed. "She's safe now. Let's leave it there." He left, but Jack's suspicions burned. Elise's vague story, it stank of lies. That night, Sophie slept in Jack's spare room, her bear tucked close. Elise lingered by the fire, her polished facade fraying. Jack poured coffee, his hand steady despite the chaos in his chest. "Why'd you leave, Elise?" he asked, the question he'd buried for 17 years clawing free. "We had plans." "Then you're just gone." Elise stared into flames. "My family controlled me, Jack. They said you were a dead end, a mechanic with no future. I was 19, scared. I ran." "You didn't just run," Jack said, voice raw. "You gutted me. And now you're here, with a kid who was lost in my woods? What's the truth?" Elise's hands trembled. "I didn't know Sophie was yours." The words were a sledgehammer. Jack's mug hit the floor, shattering. "Mine," he choked. She nodded, tears falling. "I found out I was pregnant after I left. I was ashamed. I thought you'd hate me, so I kept her secret." Jack stumbled back, his grief for Emma colliding with this new truth. Sophie, his daughter? Rage and longing warred inside him. "You had no right," he growled. "You stole her from me." "I know," Elise whispered. "I'm so sorry." But there was more. Elise's eyes flickered with fear. "There's something else," she said. "Alter Holdings. It's not just a company. My board, they're involved in things. Deals. Secrets. I think Sophie's wandering was an accident." Jack's blood ran cold. "What kind of secrets?" Elise hesitated. "I can't say yet, but I need you to trust me." Trust her? After everything? Jack wanted to laugh. But Sophie's small form in the next room anchored him. He'd protect her, no matter what. The next morning, Elise made an offer. Come to her Vermont estate. A guest house. A garage for Jack's work. A chance for Sophie to know her father. Jack's instinct was to refuse. His cabin was his shield, his solitude his strength. But Sophie's hand in his, as they shared oatmeal, undid him. For her, he'd go. The estate was another world. Sprawling lawns, a mansion dripping wealth. Jack felt like a trespasser, his boots scuffing marble floors. Sophie, though, bloomed, her laughter echoing as she chased fireflies. Jack turned the garage into a sanctuary, losing himself in engines to quiet his doubts. Elise softened, trading suits for jeans, her CEO mask slipping. They talked late into the night, unearthing their past. Jack found a letter in the guest house, written by Elise years ago, confessing her love and regret. It cracked his armor, but pride held him back. What would you do if the child you just met was yours, and the woman who hid her begged for forgiveness, while hiding something darker? That question gnawed at Jack as he watched Sophie draw pictures of her bear. Could he forgive Elise? Could he be a father again? Hey, if this story's gripping you, hit like and subscribe for more tales that pull you in and don't let go. Weeks passed, a fragile bond forming. Jack taught Sophie to tighten bolts, her small hands eager. Elise cooked, her laughter warming the guest house. But tension simmered. Elise offered to fund a new garage, a gesture that stung Jack's pride. "I don't need your charity," he snapped. "I need you to be straight with me." "I'm trying," Elise said, voice breaking. "I want us to be equals." "Then stop hiding," Jack said. "What's Alter Holdings really into?" Elise's face paled. "It's complicated. There are contracts, offshore deals, people who don't like questions, people who'd scare a kid into the woods." Jack pressed. She didn't answer, but her silence was enough. Then came the first twist. Late one night, Jack found a burner phone hidden in the garage, its only contact labeled Watcher. A text read, "Keep the girl close. They're watching." Jack confronted Elise, who broke down. "I didn't want to drag you into this," she said. "Alter's bored. They're tied to a syndicate. I was trying to get out, but they threatened Sophie." Jack's fist clenched. "Why didn't you tell me?" "I was protecting you," she said. "Both of you. Protecting me?" Jack scoffed. "You're in over your head, Elise. And now Sophie's in danger." The second twist hit harder. A man in a suit appeared at the estate. claiming to be Elise's lawyer. He handed Jack a file, photos of Sophie in the woods, time-stamped showing she'd been followed. "Ms. Harrington's board wants a compliance," he said, "or the girl pays." Jack threw him out, but the threat lingered. Elise confessed she'd been blackmailed into signing shady deals. Her retreat a cover to meet a whistleblower who never showed. Sophie's wandering was a warning from the syndicate. Jack's protective instincts roared. He rigged the garage with cameras, taught Sophie to stay close. But danger crept closer. One night, a storm tore through the estate. Sophie, chasing a stray kitten, slipped into a ravine. Jack and Elise braved the deluge, finding her shivering, ankle fractured. Jack carried her to safety, Elise's hand steadying him. In the hospital, their shared fear forged trust. At Sophie's bedside, Jack demanded answers. "No more secrets," he said. "What are we?" Elise took his hand. "I love you, Jack. I never stopped. I want us, Sophie, you, me, a family." Jack's heart ached. He loved her too, but trust was a slow burn. "We take it day by day," he said, "and we end this threat." Jack wasn't just a mechanic. He'd learned to fight in the years after Lily and Emma's death, channeling grief into strength. With Elise, he devised a plan. She leaked false intel to board, luring the syndicate's enforcer, a man named Kessler, to the estate. Jack ambushed him in the garage. Disarming him, Kessler sneered, "You're out of your league, mechanic." But Jack's wrench was faster, and Kessler was out cold. Elise turned the syndicate's files over to the FBI, her whistleblower contact finally surfacing. The board collapsed, Alta Holdings cleansed. But Jack knew freedom came at a cost. He and Elise agreed, no more running. By spring, Jack had his answer. He built a new cabin on the estate's edge, sturdy, simple, theirs. Elise stepped back from Alter, launching a nonprofit to rebuild rural communities. Her fire reignited. Jack opened a community garage, teaching kids like Sophie to fix what was broken. Sophie called him Dad, her smile a balm for old wounds. One evening, they sat by a fire pit, Sophie roasting marshmallows, Elise's head on Jack's shoulder. The jet that once circled was gone, its secrets buried. Jack looked at his family, the forest humming around them. They'd faced lies, danger, and their own scars, choosing love over fear. It wasn't perfect. Trust would always be a work in progress. But it was real. Jack kissed Elise's forehead, Sophie giggling as a marshmallow caught fire. This was home, built on quiet, stubborn choices. No more shadows. Just them, together, whole.